So Wednesday night, President Trump was in North Carolina, Greenville, North Carolina, for a rally, one of his infamous rallies that, for some reason, he still has to do all over the country.
Oh, you know why he has to do them. You know why he has to do them.
Yeah, he has to.
Because he doesn't have anything else to do.
Yeah.
He really doesn't really run the country.
No.
He doesn't. We already know he doesn't read briefings because he doesn't like to read. So this is really all he can do: start drama, create enemies, and just have rallies where people kind of adore him.
Yeah, that's just true adoration. Yeah, and then he does have to get in front of the people because it's harder to sell a lie, I guess, when you're not face to face, where you can't see him as much.
Yeah, and he doesn't really offer good explanations in regard to policy either. Like when it comes to things he gives himself credit for, he can't go into explanations as to why he's giving himself credit for those things.
Yeah.
And when he asks questions from reporters about maybe certain problems, he cannot give a good explanation as to offering some sort of explanation to why he hasn't dealt with it. So what he's best at just getting in front of audience and just doing his thing. Spitball, yeah.
So, of course, there was more of that last night, Wednesday night in Greensville, North Carolina. But there was also an incident where President Trump started talking about the squad, the 4 freshman members of the Democratic Party that are in the House. We knew that was going to happen because it was fresh. Those tweets by Donald Trump came on Sunday. People were still talking about it yesterday, of course. So, of course, he was going to address it at this rally. And so he talked about how these 4 members of Congress, how, they criticize the United States all the time. But he singled out one particular individual. He singled out Representative Ilhan Omar. And so we have some very disparaging words about her. So we wanted to show a clip from this rally in which he is talking about Representative Ilhan Omar. And then the crowd decides to chime in. And you'll see what happens.
Omar laughed that Americans speak of Al-Qaeda in a menacing tone and remarked that you don't say America with this intensity. You say Al-Qaeda makes you proud. Al-Qaeda makes you proud. You don't speak that way about America. And at a press conference just this week, when asked whether she supported Al-Qaeda, that's our enemy. That's our enemy. They are a very serious problem that we take care of, but they always seem to come along somewhere. She refused to answer. She didn't want to give an answer to that question. Omar blamed the United States for the crisis in Venezuela. I mean, think of that one. And she looks down with contempt on the hardworking Americans, saying that ignorance is pervasive in many parts of this country. And obviously and importantly, Omar has a history of launching vicious anti-Semitic screeds. And she talked about the evil Israel, and it's all about the Benjamins. Not a good thing to say.
Where do you begin, man?
Where do you
begin? Number one, everything he said about Ilhan Omar was a complete lie.
Yep.
Complete lie. Everything from the whole Al-Qaeda thing, holding her head up and her shoulders up high and about, Al-Qaeda.
The complete fabrication.
Evil Israel. She never mentioned Israel being evil.
Right.
Her comments were directed at AIPAC.
Right.
Also, I'm not going to sit here and say the comments about Venezuela are a lie, but you kind of have to look at our involvement in our history of Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? In context, because we did put sanctions on them.
Right.
Also, I don't know how he could sit up there or stand up there and say that after he and his administration tried to stage a coup in Venezuela and tried to disrupt things in Venezuela further. So
it's man, it when I when I first saw this a clip of this rally yesterday, because look, there's no doubt I was not watching it.
Oh no!
I was not watching the rally.
I wasn't doing that to myself.
No. We've talked about this before. It's very difficult to sit through a Trump rally. It's very difficult. I think I've sat through 2 in my lifetime. 2. And they were very difficult to sit through. Okay. So when I see some of the things that have happened in the Trump rally, it's only after the aftermath of it. It's only after it's already been completed and there's a video uploaded. When I first saw this clip of the crowd chanting "Send her back," I can't. I've seen white supremacy. I've seen racism too many times in my lifetime to count. It's been so many times where either I've seen it for myself with my own eyes, I've seen it on video, I've heard about it through somebody else. I mean, I've just been exposed to it many times. I cannot remember a time where I have seen racism so open, so proud, and on a stage like this.
On a national stage.
On a national stage.
At a presidential rally. Of course, that's in our lifetime. So take that into account.
I cannot say that I've ever seen anything like that before. It's not the most offensive thing that I've ever seen in my life, but I'm talking about the spectacle of it. I'm talking about it being on this stage and having a president, a current president, that is in attendance and allowing it to just happen.
Now, like, just based on what you saw, what'd you think about his reaction? Was that a reaction of, like, I don't know, like he was detested by the chants, or was his reaction more of a reaction that would lean towards, like he was encouraged by it?
Oh, definitely the latter.
Like he was proud about the chants, just his body language. When they started chanting, he was just like,
yes.
Like, it's almost like, you know what? It was like
he stopped talking so that they could chant.
He stopped talking so they could chant. It was like, it reminded me of, like, and all his rallies remind me of this. It reminded me of like a WWE Monday Night Raw event or something like that. And what was missing, but what was still present, was, like you said, he went silent, but he might as well have been doing this.
Yeah, he could have been.
He might as well have been doing this. Like, what's that?
Yep.
What's that? He understood that what he was saying was inciting that chant. He understood that in that moment. And we understood that too. You can tell that his words incited that chant. And not just his words from that night, his words leading up to that rally.
I totally agree. Look, there's a little bit of, I guess, when we talk about issues, anybody that's, seen an episode of ours, many episodes, we laugh at some stuff that that may not actually be funny. But that, you just kind of, you see the humor in it because it's absolutely so ridiculous.
Yeah, because the points they're making are so transparently false.
So there was an aspect to that when I initially saw this as well. But to be very clear, this shit is not funny at all. This is not a laughing matter. This is absolutely dangerous. Because he got a crowd. He got a crowd.
Al-Qaeda.
Yes, he got a crowd to... You bring up Al-Qaeda just now. This crowd, we've talked about the conservative audience. We've talked about Trump's followers. and how they don't care about the facts. They just don't care about it. Whatever Trump says goes. He can lie his ass off. It just does not matter. They don't care about facts. So when he's here saying that Ilhan Omar is supportive of terrorists, then that's what it is. That's the truth to them. So that gives them the liberty to talk about, I guess she's hateful of America. She hates America. She hates us. She should go. She should go. We send her back. Send her back. It's inherently racist, and it's dangerous because you don't know what that's going to lead to. We're not so far away from what, the civil rights movement. We're not so far away from that when people were. I mean, there were black people, of course, getting killed back then. There were lynchings. I mean, the black people had dogs sicked on them. There were fire hoses set on black people. I mean, we're not that far away from that to think that something like that may return.
He did say he wanted to make America great again.
Yeah, what time period are you talking about? Like, what's great to you? We know that his followers, they don't care about facts. They don't care about the truth. They don't care about justice and morals. They don't care about any of this. They just care about supporting this particular president. Whatever he says goes. If he says that these people need to go back, then they need to go back. And they're going to chant in the crowd, send her back, send her back. It's, like I said, it's eye-opening.
Trump is characterizing Ilhan Omar. And honestly, I think she's just being used as a proxy, right? That can be kind of spread out to everybody in the party now.
Yeah.
And those of the squad specifically, to paint them as no different than terrorists.
Uh-huh.
They are terrorists now, and that's what our president is doing right now as far as the characterization of Ilhan Omar. And like you said, that's dangerous. That's very dangerous. It's not just dangerous, but it's essentially false and irresponsible. Like I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah,
man.
I know.
I really
hard.
don't know what to do with this.
I know. So
like she's like for real? Like she's a terrorist? She's with the terrorists now. Like is that where we're going? Is that where we're going? If people are going to be like so upset with the whole kind of Russia thing, right? And the always the I guess the inclusion of Russian bots into every single issue and every single topic, fine. But that's kind of a new kind of political tool. Now we're reverting back to like an old political tool that was used to manipulate people, and that was terrorism, right? That's what was used to kind of continue some of these never-ending, unending wars and these regime change efforts via the United States. So now we have Trump throwing this kind of this fear tactic, this fear term out, terrorist, as a way to galvanize his base. Now, like, to me, this country has a history, a recent history of using terms like terrorist, terrorism in order to go to war with other countries. I think that's probably, like, I wouldn't say it's more important, but since we have a long history and a recent history of the United States starting skirmishes, never-ending wars, regime change based on this idea of terrorism, I think that's much worse than the whole Russia thing.
This is 2019, okay? And, many things went through my head when I saw that, the send her back chants, and Donald Trump just allowing it to happen, pausing his speech so that they could get it out and it can be heard, not over him, but while he's not talking. And I go back to one of the thoughts that I had was in 2008 when John McCain was campaigning for president. John McCain and, of course, Barack Obama were trying to become the next president of the United States. And there was that one event that John McCain was at, and I guess it was kind of like a town hall sort of event, and the mic was passed to a woman, and she was talking about Obama, talking about how she couldn't trust him because he was an Arab. And John McCain took the microphone away from her and said, "No, no, 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 no." It's like he was like, I can't get down with that. No, he's not an Arab. No, he's a family man. He's a good man. It's just that we have, fundamental differences. Just to paraphrase him, that's what he said. Now, again, that was 2008. And now, 11 years later, we have a sitting U.S. president that has taken things so much further. It would have been easy for John McCain in 2008 to kind of ignore it. Let her ask her question. Let her just say her statement, take the microphone away and say like, well, that is what some people think. Okay, let's go to the next question. But it could have been very easy for him to do that. Now, this isn't like an endorsement of John McCain. I have many problems. I had many problems with John McCain, the politician that he was. But on that front, in that moment, he did the absolute right thing. To say that you don't trust him because he's an Arab, that was absolutely racist and wrong. And John McCain called out a supporter of his for that. 2019, Trump pauses. He hears the tweets because, not the tweets, he hears the chants. Because they start, it's like a slow moving thing. I guess one person did it, then another person did it, and it just escalates. And now the whole crowd seems to be doing it. And he pauses to allow them to get it out. So on Thursday, he was at the White House. President Trump was at the White House. And of course, you would expect that reporters were going to ask him questions about this. So here is Donald Trump responding to the event that took place in Greenville, North Carolina on Wednesday.
When your supporters last night were chanting, "Send her back," why didn't you stop them? Why didn't you ask them to stop saying that?
Well, number one, I think I did. I started speaking very quickly. It really was a loud, I disagree with it, by the way, but it was quite a chant. And I felt a little bit badly about it. But I will say this, I did, and I started speaking very quickly. But it started up rather fast, as you probably noticed.
So you'll tell your supporters never to
Well,
say that?
I would say that. I was not happy with it. I disagree with it. But again, I didn't say that. They did. But I disagree with it.
But they were echoing what you said in your first tweet. They should go back.
Well, I don't think if you examine it, I don't think you'll find that. But I disagree with it.
Just to really, I guess, push back on what Donald Trump is saying here, we're going to show the video again of Wednesday night at that rally. But we're going to clip it even further, right to when the chant started and what Donald Trump did. Because Donald Trump said that he quickly, I guess, interjected to stop them from chanting.
Not only did he, he says, "I think I did.
I think I did.
I think I did." Because the reporter asked, "Hey, why didn't you stop?
Right.
Why didn't you stop them?" He said, "I think I did."
Okay. Well, let's show the video. Let's see if he did.
And obviously and importantly, Omar has a history of launching vicious anti-Semitic screeds. And she talked.
Quit talking.
That was about
Quit talking there.
depending on where you say the chant started or where he stopped talking and then started talking again. It was about 15 seconds. About 15 seconds. 14, 15 seconds that he allowed the chants to continue before he started talking again. He said he quickly started talking again because he was, I guess, so unnerved by it. He didn't like him. He also said, well, I didn't say it. It was them that said it.
I didn't say it.
I wasn't happy with it.
As if they have to utter the exact words, you know what I'm saying, for him to take responsibility and take credit for that chant.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he has ever said, "Send her back," exactly in that way, but the words he has used, based on his tweets and based on his own response to the tweets, essentially that is what he was saying. So I don't understand how he can disconnect himself from influencing that particular chant. I don't see how he can realistically, legitimately do that.
He can't. But Donald Trump is a liar. He's a racist. And
Me-
he does this without any emotion whatsoever. It doesn't take anything for him from him to espouse these very disgusting type of beliefs. It takes absolutely nothing. It's just it's not second nature. I mean, it's just him.